December 13, 6:04 p.m.
We're going to start a few minutes just waiting for people to talk on the other side of the bridge. Give it a few minutes.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Full agenda.
So you can't be at both places. If you up, the percentage at both places.
All right, what do you think? I mean, it's been about 8 minutes since the bridge. Anybody got caught by the bridge here? Okay, I guess there's no more. You didn't get caught? No? You're lucky.
I got caught by both bridges.
Oh,
I got caught by the first one, went to the second one was the last one, so both bridges are done.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna open the meeting.
I made a mistake, trying to cover it.
My name is Lou Smith. I'm the commander of Camp Digby VFW Post 367. This is where you're at, in case you don't know. Welcome to our beautiful building. We have a nice facility here. I've been working all morning. I'm waiting for delivery, and I got 2 hall rentals that I have to deal with. Luckily, I have Jim Clausen, our adjutant and quartermaster, that's here as my alternate. Before we start the meeting, I'm going to say something that every American Legion, every VFW, every disabled American veterans know and understand is respect. Respect for each other, respect for our building, and respect what we're going to discuss. And I'm going to put it into our terms. Do not let petty jealousies or trivial personalities influence our deliberations today. Let us uphold always the obligations of unselfish comradeship and loyalty to our organizations, VFW, American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, and the Veterans Assistance Commission. We're all in it together. And to the government of the United States of America. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the VAC. I don't know who's going to start tonight, but microphone's open for you.
Welcome to today's meeting of the VAC. It's Tuesday, the 13th of December, 6 o'clock. My name is Janet Luke. I'm the last man standing on our current VAC board. And so it moves me to kick our meeting off this evening. Jenna and I discussed it, and we thought this was a good way to start. Thank you so much.
This is a good way to kick off the meeting, and our goal is just to get through the agenda. Before we do that though, if there is an objection to me running the meeting and you would prefer us to nominate a president pro tem, there's no ego in this for me. We just want the right the right person to be leading the meeting, as someone that you all have confidence in will do it justice. So can I have a show of hands if you would like to nominate President Pro Tem or have me facilitate the meeting? All of those who'd like to have a President Pro Tem, please raise your hands. Okay, so that is, someone could make a note that we did ask for folks to raise their hands. Nobody did that I could see, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, December 13th. It's 6:11 p.m. And I'd like us all to stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there someone in the room who'd like to give our invocation today?
Me.
Thank you, sir. Is this Mr. Clausen?
That's me.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us safely together this evening. Please guide us in our deliberations and help us make prudent and wise decisions for those whom we serve. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Can we have the roll call now? AL 2000 Mokina. AL 1977 New Lenox. AL 1291 Crete. AL 1200 Moni.
Jenna, do you want to?
AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
Delegate Robert Engel.
AL 521 Steger.
Delegate Joey Smith.
AL 392 Piatone. AL 241 Joliet Buffalo Soldier. AL 191 Wilmington. AL 52 Romeoville.
AL 39 Braidwood, AL 18 Lockport,
President Mike Myers, delegate.
AL 13 Plainfield,
Peter Rod, Hawaii, alternate delegate.
AL 1288 Bolingbrook, AL Post 5 Harwood,
President Joseph Kelly,
VFW 9545 New Lenox,
President Clark Christensen, delegate.
VFW 8283 Steger, VFW 5917,
President.
VFW 5819 Lamont, VFW 5788 Lockport, VFW 5422 Wilmington, VFW 2199 Joliet Stone City, VFW 1493 Frankfurt,
Delegate and the president.
VFW 725 Mokina, VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny,
Jim Clausen, delegate.
Lou Smith, delegate.
thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that last one,
Point of order, I counted 13 by the names called.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What did you say?
I was counting, I counted 13. This one, 4 and 14.
If I can finish what I was saying, Mr. Smith, as Jim Clausen is your delegate, you would then be the alternate.
Thank you.
We counted 22 delegates on the form, is that right, Jen?
So I counted 15 names. So did I.
Anybody else have a different number? I counted 15 also. We're in agreement. I believe we have a quorum. Thank you. Before we get into our agenda, I would like to suggest a motion to advance our new business to come, advance our old business to be before our new business on the agenda. Before the consent agenda. I just feel that that's, it's a better order of business to do old business before we do new business, so I would like a motion to advance the old business to come in before the new business and before the consent agenda. Mr. Griffin motioned it and Mr. Dempkey seconded. We'll take. I'm sorry. Absolutely.
Clark Christensen, delegate from VFW Post 9545. With old business coming before new, which is generally the way that I am accustomed to, there's one small issue with that, and that I was prepared to make a motion to postpone nominations and elections until after we can rewrite and approve bylaws. There's reason for this. Currently the bylaws are very conflicting of what they say about elections, the term of office, and things like that. And I feel like if we do an election at this point, we run into a situation where we elect people for terms of which we're stuck with, even if we change the bylaws to reflect an agreement between the term of an appointment to the delegation and the term of the executive committee. And then there's other issues that we've got as far as eligibility goes and conflicts in the bylaws about who's eligible to be elected. So for these reasons, and I'm not sure if this is the correct point in time to make this motion, but my intent here tonight was to make two motions, one of which was to postpone the elections, and of course that's up to a vote, and if that passes, then my second motion was going to be to work towards getting a bylaws committee together that can work on the bylaws and present them at the next regular meeting. And then as we are having this meeting today, I realize there's probably a third motion, which would be to elect a president pro tem or just a chairman. I'm not sure exactly what the proper term is for that person, but elect someone that can run the meetings while we're getting our house in order. So that's the discussion that I have. That's not yet the motion, but I'm not really sure about the proper way to move forward. With new business first, I was going to make the motion to new business, but now if we move old business first, it may not be appropriate to make that motion. It may be, I'm not 100% sure.
Thank you, Mr. Christensen. Any further discussion?
Well, what is the purpose of moving it forward?
The purpose, my suggestion to move, and it was merely a suggestion to move it forward, was to, because old business should come before new business, and this is going to be a very long meeting, and so I was hoping that we would get through as much of the agenda as we possibly could this evening. That was the reason why.
Start the rain, go to sea. It's already in black and white.
So I have some discussion on that.
This is what I didn't understand about the meetings. We've always jumped around in the meetings. We've always changed stuff. It's in black and white, let's follow it the way we got it, rather than jumping around, because this is how we put stuff aside, and stuff always gets passed up, gets put aside, and then we forget about the next meeting, oh, we forgot about it, and 2 or 3 meetings later, oh wait, whatever happened to this? Oh, we gotta come back to that. So it's in black and white, 1, 2, 3, follow 1, 2, 3. That's the way I do this show.
Thank you, sir.
Don't be a jump to minutes when their agenda was put out. I didn't
Thank
see
you, that's a great
no email blast put out about it.
No, it wasn't. It was merely
Now,
suggestion.
so we get to the meeting, we're gonna object that. I mean, if we objected ahead of time, we could have straightened out ahead of time.
For sure.
That's all I gotta say.
Any other discussion on that? If there's no other discussion, I think we can go to roll call. Yeah. So can we have roll call? And the motion was to advance the new business, the old business to be before the consent agenda. A roll call, please.
Okay, Bolingbrook, VFW 5917. Braidwood, AL 39.
I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't hear the votes. What are we voting on?
Can we do it in order?
They wanna move new business in front of old business. Or old business in front of new business, and it's the way they wanna do it.
I say no. Could you repeat what the first VFW voted, please?
Okay, we're just gonna start.
We're gonna start over.
That's fine.
Yeah. I believe a lot of people don't know what we're.
Okay, Janet, do you wanna restate it?
That's my confusion, I apologize. The vote is to advance the old business to be heard before we get into the consent agenda. Nothing's changed, we're still planning on hearing everything, but the motion was to hear and complete the old business before we get into the consent agenda. We have a motion, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. AL 2000 Mokina.
Hale,
Okay. All right, AL 1200 Monique.
yes.
AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
No.
AL 521 Cedar.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington. AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
No.
VFW 9545 New Lenox.
No.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
No.
VFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington. VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
No.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
No.
Motion passes.
Yes, sorry.
9 votes.
Post 5788, Lockport DFW. Sorry, I wasn't here for roll call. I had another event that I was attending. Keith Herbert. Yeah.
Keith, why don't you come sit in the group here? So we know you're.
Sorry.
He's supposed to know what we're supposed to have.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you say 578 Lockport?
Yeah, 5788.
Keith Coleman.
What was the vote count? He voted no.
We'll wait. It's 9-7. Please say it.
9-7?
Correct.
9 no's?
9 yeses.
Okay,
7 noes.
thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to introduce, and ask any guests or first-time attendees to raise their hands and introduce themselves, please. Are there any first-time attendees?
I'm Hi, I'm Ken Griffin. I live in Romeoville. I'm representing Lamont VFW. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran.
Was there someone else? Ken. It's Ken Watt, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Next.
Do you want to say a few words by yourself?
Yeah, we're in, Region Post 191.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Carberry, is this your first time, Keith Carberry? No. Anybody else, a first time attendee or a guest?
Joey Smith, 0521, U.S. Army.
Did we miss anybody else? Awesome, thank you so much. Next, we'll have our public comment. If you do have public comments, please do I'll take the mic to the other end of the room. And we have a general rule of around 5 minutes, but just remember it's a really long agenda. We want to hear what you have to say, but it's a long agenda.
Hi, I'm John Kraft. I've got a question to start off with. Was there a meeting last night online? Was there an online meeting last night? With any number of delegates or alternates? Just curious. One other part of unfinished business. Ms. Koki still haven't apologized for allowing another board member to speak mistruths about your activities on the county board and your votes. The board member told the public at more than one meeting that you did not vote on any grants coming to or the theme grant that everybody was concerned about coming to the VAC. And you voted twice according to the county board minutes, the county board and the committee minutes. You let a fellow board member speak about your actions, and she didn't tell the truth. You didn't correct her, and you still haven't apologized to anybody. And I think you should do that. That would be a good place to start. As far as the your bylaws are so screwed up, you know, they need to be gone over. They need to be matched up with state law. And whatever the end result is, it needs to specifically state that an executive committee or an executive board, whatever you want to call it, has absolutely no power, zero power to do anything except to bring something to the full commission for a vote. I think there's one or two other VACs in the state that still believe their executive committee has powers to vote on things. Madison County gave their superintendent a pay raise, the executive board. They didn't have the power. You have to look to the statute, and it will tell you what powers the commission has and what powers a committee of the commission has. All the powers are given to the superintendent and the commission. No powers, zero, are given to any committee of the commission, period. I've said that for months on end, and you can't allow that to happen. And I would, whoever it was that talked about tabling elections of the officers, I think that's a good idea, at least until the first meeting in March, because all the delegate forms need to be turned in by the end of February, and then you have a meeting in March with all new delegate forms. So everybody should know pretty much who's going to be here the rest of the year. Then you make your selections, and those should go by the new bylaws, and not have people in office as an officer for 3, 4, 5 years, have 3 or 4 ex-presidents that aren't delegates anymore on there for a decade. It can't continue to happen like that. At a minimum, if you insist on voting in an officer, only do it for a chairman temporarily until the first meeting in March of 2023. And, you know, I would suggest Jan to be that person to be the temporary chairman until January 20, or March of 2023, the first meeting in March. It makes sense, because you're going to redo the bylaws. And when you redo the bylaws, it'll destroy everything not destroy. It will fix everything that is wrong with the current bylaws. And it has to happen. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ken Griffin, and I'm a new member of this board. And I have watched with dismay as to what has happened to the VAC. I have been a user of the VAC, and I have had wonderful experiences with staff. But I'm very concerned, and I agree that the bylaws need to be amended and fixed. But I would just hope that we could come together as a group to remember what our mission is, and that's to serve the veterans of Will County, and that we could put aside whatever the differences have been in the past and move forward with the new year in a spirit of progress and fellowship, and remember who it is that we're serving.
Hi there, this is Raj Pillai. I'm one of the delegates at the Plainfield American Legion. So I do agree with you, sir. I think we've met before. I do think that we do need to come together. So far, I think most of you know who I am. I've been, derided, attacked. I started off this process by just asking very simple questions. They just never got answered. And, since then, it's been, for lack of better words, falsehood after falsehood. And we've tried to, say, hey, you guys are breaking the law. Eventually, even though that person or those persons didn't listen, eventually one of the people resigned, and Ms. Cook, you resigned from the county board because you were violating the law. So there's also an email sent out by the prior chairman to the VFW state level that, there were falsehoods in there. There was something about, I think that there is an active FBI investigation. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But also that why is somebody that's not eligible for the being a VFW member, me, asking these questions? As a matter of fact, I am eligible to be in a VFW, and maybe, sir, I will, if I'm welcome, I might even try to join this post here. But I was in Kosovo in a combat zone, so I think that an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, so I think I'm eligible to be in the VFW. So there's falsehoods in there. So there was a time when months ago, FBI agents contacted many people. They contacted me. I said, hey, and it was about this $500,000 issue. I didn't mention this before because I didn't want to get this in the middle of my political race, but I'll mention it to you guys now. They came to my office, I talked to both of them. I gave them all of the information that I had. So I have it on good authority. There's an active investigation going on right now. And recently I found out, just yesterday, or maybe it was today, that Ms. Blue, there was an email sent out about a Zoom meeting yesterday. I was not invited to that meeting. None of the commission members were invited to that meeting. So, as Mr. Griffin said, if we're to come together, if you're not going to invite everybody to a meeting, not only is it potentially a violation of the Open Meetings Act, but it's just plain wrong. If we are going to come together, we've got to be involved, all of us involved in these conversations. You cannot have secret meetings. And by just resistance to these questions so far, it's just, you guys might be aiding and abetting, whoever's doing it, to somebody, aiding and abetting somebody that might be under federal indictment soon. You guys gotta be really careful. I mean, if you follow the rules and just be open and honest with the rest of the commission, the veteran community and the taxpayers, a person like me is going to be your best friend, but look, I got done with a pretty time-consuming election. I'm tired. Nothing would make me more ecstatic than everybody doing the right thing, but if you're actually going to sideline people and have secret meetings and attack people like me just for asking questions. I have the time, interest, and the resources to turn the next year into you guys' worst nightmare, whoever's doing it. I'm not talking about the commission. But listen, the choice is yours. Thank you.
My name's John David, post 5917 Bolingbrook. I agree with you. Yes, we need to come together, and yes, we need to get disorganized. We need to go back to the words that Lou said earlier. Petty jealousy. After the last meeting, there was a blast email sent out that it not only attacked me, but attacked my post. We in Bolingbrook do a lot for veterans, and we work together with the American Legion. And to have somebody go out there and put false statements out and be from this commission is totally wrong. We've helped a lot of veterans in Bolingbrook. I've even reached out to other posts for help. I've had posts come to me for help. I personally gave people gas in their cars. I personally took food to their homes. So did a lot of other members from the Bolingbrook VFW. We've gone to Eric, and he's our service officer in Chicago, to file claims. But the fat fellow lie is totally uncalled for. And if you feel proud of yourself putting an email out with nothing but lies in it, you're not for veterans.
Anyone else for public comment?
Move we close the public comments.
We don't need to. Thank you. With no further comments, we'll move on to old business.
I'm not sure if this is the right time, and I'm not sure if I can make this motion, but if the agenda item includes a motion, honestly, it doesn't matter. I can either make a motion during old business, or I can't make a motion during old business, and I'm not 100% certain, so I'm gonna make it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. I'd like to make a motion that we suspend elections until we're able to properly rewrite the bylaws and get them approved by the commission.
I second.
Well, you would have to make a motion, just to be honest, the motion postponed after there's a motion and second to go through the election.
And
That
we're
would be
not-
the correct time to make that motion.
Oh, we're not at that. What?
No, I can speak up. Can everyone hear me? Big mouth. So you can make the motion and postpone, so that's what you're trying to do,
Yes.
so you have the bylaws. Just so that the record's appropriate and everything's correct, you would have to do that after there's a motion and second to approve to start the election, which is, I think, old business. It's B.
So there will be a motion to begin the elections.
The nomination and elections, or there would have to be in order to take action on that item, and at that point in time, that's your motion, so until such time as bylaws have been authored and approved, that would be your motion. So, and then we would be voting on your motion, there would be discussion, and then you, your motion, a second, discussion, and then
Fantastic.
a vote on your motion.
Exactly what I needed to think of.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I move we appoint Peterson, Johnson, and Murray as the executive board's attorney retroactive to August 4th, 2022.
Thank you. That preempted my call to say the first order of business on all business is to approve Pearson, Johnson and Murray as the executive board's attorneys, retroactive to August the 4th, 2022. We have a motion on the floor with Mr. Griffin. Do we have a second? Raj, did you?
I think I have to wait for a second before I discuss.
I'll make a second.
So Amanda Cope, second. Discussion.
So my issue is, a couple things. When this attorney was appointed, I think that, the attorney started the process of working through all the representing the board. And I just want to be clear that this motion is for appointing an attorney for the executive board, not for the investigation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So this attorney was representing the executive board, and as everyone knows right now, there's a lawsuit out there that went against certain executive committee members, not all of them, I guess most of them, for being ineligible to be on the board. So that case has not been heard yet. And the attorney was representing these individuals, the 9 people that were sued. I did not sue the commission. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind, is that generally, my intention was not for the taxpayers to put the bill for this lawsuit. My intention was, if people did something wrong, hey, I'm going to sue those people, and they're the ones that put the bill, not the taxpayers and not the commission. So I just want to make that clear, and I don't know if there's anybody that has questions on that, or if it's not clear, let me know, I'll explain it, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Mr. Flood, my firm, I don't believe, is defending, I believe there was a separate counsel for the lawsuit for the individual that you're referring to. His name was Patrick Walsh, and it's not my.
Okay, so that's completely separate.
What you're talking about right now is, I believe, what I'm doing right now. That's simply.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was just trying to.
No, fair enough, I understand, yeah.
Any further discussion? Sorry.
I'm sorry, did we go to the Joseph Kelly? So, did we go to switch the order, or were we going right down the agenda?
We switched the order. We're now on old business, which is section 10.
Okay, because I was going to say the same thing, if we gotta wait till we get to it on the agenda.
Thank you. Mr. Alcalde.
VEC hired you to investigate into the budget buggies. Am I right?
That is it's a separate investigation.
I never knew we hired him to be a mouthpiece for the executive board. Because that, to me, that's been done for the last 6 months, because you talked to him, I didn't know we hired him to represent.
Just to be clear, I haven't interviewed witnesses as part of that investigation.
So everything they say has to go through your part of the investigation.
No.
That's the way I see it, but it's not that bad right now here, but all the other meetings, everything they said had to go through you to talk to us.
I was at the.
I didn't know you represented them. I thought you were investigating.
Members of my law firm are investigating. That was a separate assignment.
Okay, so all you are is for the VAC.
I am representing the VAC and calling Robert's rules and all trying to making sure the motions are appropriate, which I did at the last meeting after last week. I'm sorry for any confusion.
Any further discussion?
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm not a delegate or alternate, but I have to ask a question. I know the statute permits the superintendent to hire an attorney. It permits the commission to hire an attorney. You really don't have an executive board this time. Why would you not just represent the entire commission and not a non-existent executive board? That's just my question. Thanks.
I have a question. Why is this gentleman constantly interrupting our meetings? Every meeting I've had, he's a cameraman, he's not a delegate, he's not an officer. What is your position here other than filming everything and causing disruption? Why do you tie up half of our meetings with your questions? Public comments are over. Why don't you mind your
I don't have to
business?
answer, but I will answer. My attempt is to assist the commission and the fake executive board that was here to comply with the Military Veterans Assistance Act, so people don't have to go around and sue them in court to force compliance, or so they don't do things that break the law, like have the executive board hire
You
people
are
and
part
get
of the
paid
public,
raises
are you
when
not,
they have
sir?
no authority to do it.
Public comments are closed. I appreciate it if you mind your business.
Well, you ask the question, if you don't want an answer, don't ask me.
I got my answer.
And you're not in charge, so you can't tell me comments are closed.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call, please.
Okay, so the motion that we are going to do the roll call for is a motion to approve Peterson, Johnson, and Murray as executive board's attorneys retroactive to August 4th, 2022. AL 1200.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet.
For the clarification.
AL.
For executive board or for our committee?
Commission.
To the commission. You guys said executive board, I didn't work for the commission.
I work for all of you. I call all the time.
Okay, well, make that clear in minutes then. Because they're saying executive board, that means you work for the executive board, so you work for Jenny Book. That is what I'm trying to get at. Clarification. That's our problem.
That should be clarified, yes.
My motion was, as it reads in the agenda, as the executive board's attorneys.
Yeah, it's not the executive board, that's where it's wrong.
We're all members of the commission.
Well, I'll amend my motion then to include the entire board. The entire commission.
So now procedurally, is amendment, someone. Second amendment.
I will second the amendment.
Any discussion on clarification of the amendment? Then you vote on the amendment, and then you vote on the motion as amended.
Can I speak on the amendment? So the amendment is gonna change it from executive board to full commission, so everybody knows what we're voting on. Then we're gonna vote on passing it as amended.
Any other discussion?
We didn't already vote on it originally, right?
No.
So we just need to vote on the amendment.
We need to vote on the amendment, and then assuming we agree on the amendment, we need to vote on the motion to approve the amended. Correct? Yep.
AL 1200 Moline.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Steger.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Adams.
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington.
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
So now I'm looking for motion to approve the amended, motion earlier. The amended motion was to approve Peterson, Johnson, and Murray as the full commission attorneys, retroactive to August the 4th, 2022. Beneke and Griffin, first, motion. Discussion. Can we have a roll call, please?
AL 1200 Moni.
Yes.
We have a discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do we have to have a roll call on each? Is that required in our?
We just talked about that, absolutely. We do have to have a roll call to make sure there's no possible confusion. Thank you.
AL 1080 Joliet.
Yes.
AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Cedar.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington.
Yes.
VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
That was unanimous.
Thank you, that vote was unanimous. We're going to go on to old business item B, nominations and elections. I'm just going to read the agenda item. Per the October 14 meeting, due to extenuating circumstances, both elections and nominations will be held during one meeting. Each nominee will be given 2 minutes to speak prior to the election if they would like to. Nominations will be followed immediately by corresponding election before moving on to the next officer. I'd like to open this up for nominations for the president, please.
Now, is this where I can make a motion? I thought there was gonna be a motion to open the elections.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to open the elections.
I'll second.
Motion.
No
I have
discussion.
discussion. It's about.
So now discussion. In discussion, my recommendation for this group here is to vote no to open the elections, right? We have to have a no vote on open the elections, so then I can make a motion, correct, to postpone the elections until, but not until March. My suggestion will be postpone the elections until the bylaws can be rewritten and approved.
You don't need a vote, sir. Sorry.
We don't need to know.
You would make a motion to postpone.
Well, motion to
Elections
postpone.
until.
Okay, so I make a motion to postpone until bylaws can be rewritten and approved by this,
So you
delegation.
already got a motion and a second
It
to,
would be a superseding motion.
Yeah, I'll second that superseding motion.
You're working on the bylaws?
Well, we have to establish a bylaws committee, which is a different motion, but I'm saying that, yeah, that's my motion, and I guess.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
now that we have an attorney, what's your take on this? What should we be doing at this point, given our current bylaws, to affect any change by the next meeting?
So the motion to postpone is on the floor, it's a superseding motion. It would cause you to postpone these elections and nominations and elections until March of 2023, which
I didn't say March of 2023, I said until we can get the bylaws rewritten and approved, because if that takes more than March, we still don't want to elect under the old bylaws.
statutorily, I think you're gonna be required to do it. I can put together a memo on that, sir, but statutorily, the new code that becomes effective the 1st of January 2023 is gonna require annual meetings.
The new code isn't everybody's binder for the other day.
So the new code is gonna require a vote in March of 2023 to comply with the Illinois compiled statutes and the revisions that go into effect, January 1st, 2023. So you have to have nomination and election.
Okay.
So that's why I said it, so.
March.
I'm not the chair. Or president pro tem.
So we have the, a motion, we have a second, any discussion? The motion was to postpone the elections until March, I believe.
Well, just so we get this right, my motion was to postpone it until the bylaws are rewritten, but as it sounds, we don't really have that choice. So I can change my motion to be that we postpone until March, and that gives us 3 months to work on bylaws.
March or when the bylaws are ready, whichever's first.
Whichever's first, yes.
So that's motion. But we have a superseding motion and discussion, so we'll be able to discuss that.
Well, questions.
Wait, we need a second, we need a second for the amended motion.
Second. Well, I thought it was quick second.
Right, but he changed it from, okay, thank you.
So now there's discussion on the motion.
I was just wondering that since we're so far behind the ball now, and we're not taking care of proper diligence, what we're supposed to be doing, why don't we make an interim, since everything's gotta be changed? Why can't we have an election tonight, and then officers, they're expire in March, we have a new election, and in the meantime, that gives us 3 months to get, and we could make tonight or sometime, get a bylaws committee to start working seriously on fixing the bylaws, and the officers that might get elected tonight if we had an election, their term would end in March, and we force a new election with the new laws, with the new bylaws.
Well, I think
Start fresh with everything.
On that discussion point, I think you're correct. Well, even if you did appoint someone and elect someone tonight, their term would be up in March anyway, regardless if you call it interim or not.
Because that's what everybody was worried about, is long-term, we elect someone tonight, they're in charge for the next 3 years.
May I respond to that? The intent of my motion is first to stop the elections under the current bylaws. Then there's 2 more following motions that I plan to make, one of which is going to be that we establish a bylaws committee to work on the bylaws, and the second one is to elect I'm not sure what the title will be, but a person to basically run our meetings till March. We don't need to, I don't feel that we need the full executive committee, but we do need someone to run our meetings. And so that's my intent. But the first thing we have to do is stop these elections so that then we can go forward with these other motions.
Can I just speak to one
Yes.
point that you said, sir? With others, under new business B, it's a bylaw review committee, so that's already in the new business.
That's good, yeah.
So that's one of the motions you want to make,
Yes.
but it's already in the agenda.
Yeah, perfect.
Was someone on the side of that discussion? Someone raised that? Okay.
And I keep calling, I'm sorry, what's your name, sir?
Clark Christensen.
Mr. Christensen. Thank you, sorry.
I have opened a discussion as a delegate. For the last 4 months, our meetings have been in turmoil for whatever reason. We can all point fingers and blame each other and all the other stuff, but they've been in turmoil. What's taken a backseat is the very reason why we all come, and that's service to our veterans. What's taken a backseat is putting our absolute focus on finding every veteran, making sure they get every service that they've already earned. And my reason for joining was because I want no more veteran suicides. That won't wait. It won't wait. It won't wait for months and months till we get our act together. So I'm opposed to postponing them for that reason, not for the reason of anybody who may or may not get elected, but because it takes our focus off the very reason we're here. And we do have something on the bylaws committee. Yes, they're a mess. They are a mess. We have to fix them. We all agree with that. I don't think anybody in this room disagrees that we need to fix our bylaws. So I am opposed to pushing it off again, going through this whole thing again, unless we have to, of course, in March. So that's my discussion.
I'd just like to respond to that. I completely agree with you. The reason why I'm here is to get this commission back to the business of taking care of veterans, absolutely, positively. And I think that our opinion just differs a little bit in that I think that a big portion of getting back to the business of taking care of veterans is getting our house in order. I trust and rely on Jen's office staff to handle things as they're coming in. But in order for us to really properly move forward, we have to get our house in order. And to me, doing this by not electing an entire executive board, but focusing on running our meetings and getting our bylaws revised, and then following those bylaws to a T. That to me is cleaning our house, which allows us to get back to veteran service. And you can ask any of my VFW comrades here, like that's the only reason why I'm involved in these organizations, and it's been something I've been very committed to. So I just wanted to agree but disagree.
So if we don't elect an executive board tonight, what's preventing us from still having veterans in January and February meetings? Why don't we not vote on and pass things and discuss things still? We don't require an executive. Right.
No, I'm not suggesting we do or don't require an executive board. That was a question. My point was the amount of additional work that's being put on the office is colossal. It's mountainous. And it's time for them to get back to what they do best and let us take care of the rest of the business. And we can do that in conjunction with fixing the bylaws and everything else that needs fixing. Looking at new superintendent, all of those things we need to do. We can do them in conjunction. We don't have to wait for one before we do another. I just think that's an inefficient use of time.
But like it's been in turmoil and it is all over the executive board. So I agree with Clark on let's get the house in order and get that taken care of. We can still do business. We can still meet for our next 2 meetings, for March, and get our stuff done and all done and get what we need to done there. No, we're not talking about this anymore. So all that's gonna happen, in my opinion, is that we're gonna elect people, then people are gonna come to the next meeting and complain about feelings and why they're elected and why they're sitting there and why they shouldn't be there or why they should be. Until we have it definitively who belongs where. I just, I know I'm new to this, I've only been coming for the last 4 or 5 months, but it's just, that's what I see. It doesn't matter what we say at this meeting, it's repeated the next one. And I think if we do the election tonight, I think we should just cycle through that. I really do. And I'm with you. I would really like our next meeting to be all about what's going on for the people. And getting, them believing or getting things done or getting things passed. And not discussing this. Okay.
I agree.
Any other discussion? Let's call the question.
Totally agree with you.
We need a roll call.
This is a roll call for
Motion to postpone the nomination of elections until March 1st for 2023 or the pilot.
Can you use the mic where we can hear you?
Yeah,
Sorry. The question posed by Mr. Christensen, if I say this wrong, it was a motion to postpone the nomination and election of officers until such time as our new bylaws for March 1st, 2023, whichever is sooner. That's it.
So be it. The meeting.
Roll call.
AL 1200.
No.
AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Steger.
Yes.
AL 191 Willington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
VFW 5917.
Yes.
VFW 5819.
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington.
Yes.
VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Jerry, he'll talk again.
So-
I'd like to make another motion. And that motion would be to then, or does this need to go in new business, to then elect the President Pro Tem to run the meeting until the bylaw, until there's the next election, when either the bylaws are finished or March 1st. Or is that a new business issue?
You've already identified for the meeting,
For this meeting, yes,
Right.
but I'm saying for meetings until
I would say for clarifications, you should appoint the President Pro Tem each meeting.
appointed at each meeting, who decides that?
The members.
Okay, so we choose one at the very beginning of the meeting to run the meeting for that meeting alone, and then we move forward. Sounds like a very.
One of the examples.
I have a question, I'm sorry. If you were choosing someone to run the meeting, like when we first come in, well, who's gonna be president today? They need to have read the agenda, they need to be ready, they've got to have questions, they've got to know what's going on. I think that's too late. I mean, I think you want someone to be ready and prepared, right? So I think, appointing someone as they come in is slapdash. At least appoint them the meeting before if you want, I mean,
I agree with that.
however that works.
That was a very good point.
I make a motion.
Comment on this side.
Well, I was gonna make a motion that Janet Blue be the interim or lead the meetings until President Pro Tem or what, however you want to call the title position.
I would second that motion.
Until we have an election.
Our next election.
Until our next election, yes.
I'd second that motion.
I didn't talk to you, sorry.
I'm not sure we can make that motion right now because it's in business, right?
Continuation.
I don't think that we can actually make that motion, because it's not on the agenda, but it does appear as though Janet will probably be ready to run every meeting unless she's not here. I would also argue that everybody here should read their agenda before they come in, and in theory would be somewhat ready to lead the meeting in any case. If you did not want to, or you didn't feel ready, you could always decline the nomination. So let's just do it the way that it's typically done, where we do it by meeting to meeting. We assume it'll be Janet, maybe it's not, maybe she's not feeling well, whatever the case may be, and she might say, I can't do it today. We'll find somebody else who's gonna be on the meeting. Can you reiterate what you're saying, Melissa?
It'll be an agenda item standing until such time as there's a nomination election of president. So you'll have an agenda item for nomination election of president pro tem.
Correct.
No, we couldn't make a motion on it because it wasn't on the agenda. But thank you, I appreciate you thinking.
Point of order, does everything have to be on the agenda in order? So you can't make a motion without it being on the agenda?
Correct. And the reason is because if you can make a motion, you know, saying, you know, you want us all to fly to the moon tomorrow, but none of us are ready. So you have to let people understand the agenda item, think about it, do their own research on it, then come in and vote on it the next time.
In principle, I agree, though, you know, if I made a motion that you're not prepared to say yes to, you can always say no. And again, I've only been involved with the PW when it comes to parliamentary procedures, but there's always room for something to come from the floor that's not on the agenda.
In my experience though, in municipality, when I was trusting my village, if it's not on the agenda, you can't vote on it. It can come under new business if someone wants to throw something out to think about, but we couldn't vote on it ever.
Okay.
That's required by the Open Meetings Act.
Okay. All right, I'm learning.
Wouldn't it be continuing if the motion is made? Because you did stop him from trying to put it in a motion, you had said he had to make that motion first. Remember, he was originally gonna put it in there, so that would be a continuance of the motion.
The motion.
It would be on the agenda.
I'm sorry, the motion that he made, which was then discussed, and he did, he had to do it at the right moment, and he did do it at the right moment. And then once you vote on it, that the nominations and elections of the officers was postponed, and it voted on by only 15-1 was the number. So at that point, those agenda items have been postponed.
Yeah, but even he made the motion and we have delegates here, why are we not allowed to vote on the motion?
You did vote on the motion, it was 15-1.
No, but making vote then.
Because there are other delegates who aren't here, who might want to vote on that, and they didn't know because it wasn't on the agenda.
So the Open Meetings Act requires that you publish any business you're going to be discussing. So that's the issue, sir. You could have discussed it, but once you voted on it, the motion had passed. Sorry for the technical.
Can I just add one point? There seems to be a challenge, you know, I think there's many of us that, when we look at the agenda, I know I've had this challenge myself. You know, some of the agenda items that show up, I wish I would have had some input too. So I'm wondering, and I'm not saying there's a right way or a wrong way, but if there is some way for us to communicate so we can get the agenda items on the agenda in advance, you know, that would be something I'd appreciate. I think everybody would as well. Yeah.
Typically, if you want something on the agenda, you need to talk to the chairman. Obviously, we don't really have that right now. So I would suggest talking to Anna Marie and or Jen, because they're putting the agenda together and they'll be able to put it on there for you. You can just send me an email. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know what the procedure was.
Yeah, that's how it's done.
Right. So we're going to go back to page 2 of your agenda, item 7, the consent agenda. Jen and Anna Marie very kindly got all of this information out to everybody, I think a week in advance, so that we'd have time to read these minutes. We did, in the interest of time, suggest that we make it a consent agenda, so it's one motion for the meeting minutes there, having hopefully we've all read them. And we did ask that if someone wanted to take something out of the consent agenda, that they let the commission know at least 24 hours in advance. Oh, and council says we can do that now. We didn't need to do that in advance. I wasn't aware of that. I want to ask Jen, did anybody ask for anything to be taken out? No.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the consent agenda, minutes of previous meetings, items A through J.
We need a second first before we have
My question is, do we not have November minutes?
There wasn't a meeting No, October 31st was the last meeting, November was canceled.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll go to roll call, please. The second, I believe, was Ken.
Testing. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Reporting for the award log for our new awards.
No, we gotta do roll call. We're excited to hear from you, Greg.
Holidays, everyone. It looks like you're ready to go.
This is a roll call.
Okay, this roll call is on the consent agenda. AL 1200 Moni.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Steger.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington. AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington.
Yes.
VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
Thank you, that motion was passed. Now we're gonna go to the superintendent's log, Greg. We're ready for you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Greg White, Senior Veteran Service Officer for the Veterans Commission of Will County.
Yeah.
Alright, so in comparison from October meeting, we had new awards. The amount was up to 4.6 million. New awards going on to today's date, we have 5.339 billion. Are there any questions after reviewing the award log? Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Joe Martin, Veteran Peer Support Specialist for the VAC. My responsibilities is to keep our veterans off the street and to immerse the shelter. A little patience. Okay, as I talked about the emergency shelter, the hotel was formerly the Quality Inn at 135 South Larkin. They changed the name, they reconstructed it. It is the mainstay. It's the new name of it. It's been totally remodeled. We have veterans in there. As of right now, we have 2 veterans that were literally homeless. Put them in the emergency shelter. After that, we have different providers come in from Veterans Administration, Catholic Charities, Friends and Family, VOA, to come in and they do the intake and they do the assessments, and we literally get our veterans homes, apartments, or whatever needs they need. We also have Friends and Families also with transitional housing that we put our veterans in, just to get them off the street. A lot of our veterans are really suffering out there. I also have a position I'm a recovery coach for substance abuse. My expertise in that area will go back 30 years. I also have some certificates in mental health. So there's a lot of veterans suffer, from mental health, PTSD and things to that effect. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it. I love what I'm doing, and I will do anything and everything that I possibly can to keep our veterans off the street.
I just wanted to make some comments on the emergency shelter report. Thank you so much, Joe, for that. I appreciate that. Just to make us all aware, Will County has the lowest rental inventory in the state of Illinois. The lowest rental inventory. Most counties have 30% of their housing inventory is rental. We have 12%. We're also number 8 on the list for the number of evictions in the state. So we need accommodation. And there are so many homeless veterans out there. The fact that we're helping 6 is fantastic. I am sure there's another 600 out there that we haven't found. They're on somebody's couch, they're in their car, they're in my village, there's a guy sleeps under the viaduct. We've got to find them. It's our responsibility to find them, all of us. So we're talking about all coming together. This number should be way, way bigger. So we have to find them. We have to send them to Joe so he can help them out. So I just wanted to make that. I've done some work on homelessness, and it's shocking how little accommodation, even if you're working and you can pay for it, you can't find it. So they end up sleeping in their car or worse, in the rough. So please be diligent in your posts. Send anyone to Joe if they need help, and that's what we're here for. Thanks.
Okay, financial assistance report for November 2022. We served 6 veterans. Personal, those are the Aldi cards, $25 each, was $150. $10.50 for shelter, $202.37 for gas, $85.72 for electric, and $47.94 for water. Next month, I'll have a comprehensive report for fiscal year 2022 for funds that were spent total for financial assistance. Any questions?
I do actually have one. What are we doing with the governor's report?
I'm working on it now. It's due January 1st, so it's a work in progress.
Okay, so how is the commission gonna accept it? Question.
Yeah.
I understand what we're up against here, obviously, you're the interim, but we do need to figure out how we're gonna approach that issue.
No. Yeah,
New Year's Eve party?
You'll have to deal with it.
So probably we don't have to address it right now. Maybe I'll let you kind of figure out through the meeting, but, obviously you're not gonna have it done on January 1st, right? You're gonna have it done ahead of time, and you probably have a much better idea of when you might compete with that than I do, or anybody else here. So, kind of think about when you might have it done, when you might be ready to present, and then perhaps we would have that special meeting just to present.
I can have it finished by next week.
Okay, so we'll talk about that.
Do we have any, is this the report we have on the financial assistance? Yeah, I know, but do we need a motion for that? I see a
I
motion.
motion to accept the superintendent's report.
I'll motion to accept the superintendent's report.
Amanda. Jennifer, seconded. Any discussion? We need a roll call, please.
AL 1200 Moni.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet.
Yes.
AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Cedar.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington. AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood,
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox,
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook,
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont,
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport,
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington,
Yes.
VFW 1493 Frankfurt,
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet, Cantigny.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item of business is our new business, it's item 9. The first item on there is to establish a hiring committee for the superintendent. I have to say, when I saw that on the agenda, I was really happy to see that because we should all be agreeing on who our superintendent is going to be and how we find that person. So I would entertain a motion to establish a hiring committee for the superintendent. Mr. Robinson.
Before we move it up to the video, it's item 8, item 9.
What was it? I'm sorry, see, I should have spent more time on my Roman numerals.
Okay.
Thank you.
That way, if they're typing, just listen to how
You're correct, you are correct. I think we heard it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm wrong.
Okay, that's all right, we're all good. We had a motion, Mr. Beneke, motion, do we have a second? Coke, a second. Any discussion?
You have to choose who the superintendent is.
What?
Correct.
What was that?
We have to choose the committee, correct.
Any volunteers?
All volunteers.
Or the responsibility, if I could ask.
So do we want to, well, the responsibility is to come together as a hiring committee for the superintendent. That committee can, in my experience, they can roll out what their goal is and how they're going to achieve that. And the goal is obviously to find 1 or 2 or 3 candidates to put before us to choose. That's my experience. Well, we do, but we need to go back. That candidate might not be here. So I would like to suggest we show a show of hands who wants to be on the hiring committee for the superintendent. Mr. Pillai, Amanda Koch, Mr. Argon, anybody else? 3 is enough. Yeah, and I am a recruitment professional. I'm happy to be on there as well.
I just have a point that there are record-keeping requirements of Will County related to the employment process. I will volunteer to do that aspect and maintain records for the office and things.
I appreciate the offer. We do have someone who has worked with Will County on that committee. So I think if we do need additional help, we can certainly call for it for sure. Thank you. Any other volunteers?
Can we reiterate who the committee is before we vote?
Yes. It was Mr. Pillai, it was Amanda, Mr. Argon, myself. I am a recruitment professional. So anybody else? And then we'll do a roll call.
AL 1200 Moni.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet. You want to repeat the motion?
Yes.
The motion was to establish a hiring committee for the superintendent.
AL 1200 Moni.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Steger.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington. VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Our next order of business, B, is to establish a bylaw review committee. And we're expecting lots of hands for this one. So I would entertain a motion to establish a bylaw review committee.
I so move.
Coke and Christian, it's Clark, your last name, right?
Clark is my first name.
Clark, I apologize.
That's okay.
Any discussion? Please, no, we've discussed this so very much. Can we have a show of hands again for who would like to be on the bylaw review committee? We have Clark, we have Amanda, we have Ken, we have Steve Beneke, we have Jennifer.
I have one addition that's not here, but he's asked that I throw his hat in the ring as well, and that's Bobby Welsh, who's the delegate from Staker Post. So.
I don't see any reason, it's just a committee. So that, did we get that name, Bobby Welsh? Awesome. I got Jennifer, was there, and Robert, you want to be on that committee also? So Robert, I'll come as well. Anybody else?
I have a question about the logistics of that. How do we bring it to the meeting? How do we, and I'm assuming that any business that we discussed there is not covered under the OMA, or because we're not making decisions, we're simply making recommendations which will be brought here? So how do we then arrange, is there a chair appointed and then they organize, or how does that go?
As a committee, you would appoint your own chair, and then you would, meet, but obviously let the commission know when you're meeting, so we know, and then obviously, report back.
Mark, just put the impact, you're in charge.
We just wanted to point out.
Is that okay? Someone else.
Can I make a suggestion that the staff get us copies of other bylaws from other veteran service organizations to help us? Just a couple.
I have a few.
Great, thank you.
Will we reiterate one last time for the members of that committee before we vote?
The committee is Clark, Amanda, Ken, Steve, Jennifer, Robert. Did I miss anybody?
Bobby Welsh.
Oh, Bobby Welsh, I'm sorry. I'll have a roll call, please.
AL 1200 Moni. AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Steger.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington. VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now, no pressure, but we're hoping we'll all be fixed by the next meeting. Okay, we're going on to C. This is approved transfer of funds from the full-time salary fund to professional services. As you know, just a bit of background for anybody who doesn't know, because we haven't had a superintendent for a number of months, there are funds in that salaried account that we need to transfer over to professional services to pay for the investigation and for the attorneys representing the commission. That's what this that's what the motion is. So can I entertain a motion for that? Coke, seconded by Myers. Any discussion?
What is the amount?
So for FY '22, the remaining budget for full-time salary was $155,487.65 approximately. For combined total unpaid invoices, so now this number includes what was approved earlier for the attorneys to represent the commission as well, is $56,961.25. To date, we have paid $27,280 for the investigation. So there's 2 invoices that we are discussing that need to be transferred into professional services from the full-time salary. We requested the numbers are current for the invoices up until November 9th. We asked to have it through end fiscal year to November 30th. The billing cycle goes into December. So as of November 9th, the total unpaid for the 2 different contract numbers is $56,961. I anticipate probably another $15,000. So comfortably, I would recommend $70,000 to transfer from the remaining budget. Any questions?
We already made the motion.
We made the motion to approve the amount.
Need a motion to amend.
Okay, I will make the motion to amend the transfer funds to $70,000 even.
Any discussion on the amended motion? On the motion.
I do have one other question. So is D the funds that we're talking about, or is that another set of funds?
I believe
It's the same funds.
So there's,
We're motioning to move it, and then after we move it, we can motion to pay. But we can't pay them out of the fund it's currently in.
okay, that's what, but there's not another set of attorney fees.
Right.
And just to clarify, because we are moving money from salaries, we do have to take this to the Will County Board. So I did speak with the finance department, Rashawn, and she and I are going to speak tomorrow now that it's approved to get that on the next agenda for the Will County Board for approval.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
AL 1200 Moni.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet. AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Cedar.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield.
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington.
Yes.
VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
So we just voted on amending the motion, now amending the motion, and now we have to vote on the amount of money we're transferring to the
You already did that, so the motion is the motion to transfer $70,000 from the ancillary professional services fund. If that wasn't.
All right, I so move to transfer $70,000 from salary to the professional services fund.
Any discussion?
I know we just did that.
The
No, we
amendment.
had, there was an
Now we're
amendment
voting on
to
the
the
amended
motion.
motion. I know it's extremely procedural.
Yes. There was an amendment on the original.
Right.
Any further discussion? Take a roll call.
AL 1200 Monique.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet.
Yes.
AL 935 Manhattan.
Yes.
AL 521 Seeger.
Yes.
AL 191 Wilmington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville.
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport.
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield. AL Post 5 Harwood.
Yes.
BFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
BFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
BFW 5819 Lamont.
Yes.
BFW 5788 Lockport.
Yes.
BFW 5422 Wilmington.
Yes.
BFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
BFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so we just moved the money to pay the bills. Now we have to approve paying the bills. So D is to approve the attorney investigation invoices for payment. May I have a motion, please? I believe it was 56,921, but we just agreed to transfer 70,000 because it's not the end of the year.
I so move.
Coke, second. Ken Griffin. Any discussion?
Do we need to amend this for the amount? Or because it's
No.
already in the packet, we're good, right?
The invoices were included in your packet.
Okay, awesome.
You're
Thank
making a
you.
motion to approve the invoices that were included in the packet.
I'd like to clarify, because I know you have questions.
There's only two open invoices.
Right, so I understand that there were some questions about the invoices, what's been paid, what hasn't been paid. Obviously, the invoices that were for representing the commission and our meetings couldn't be paid because the retainer hadn't been approved until just now. There was a question if I reached out to the executive board or the accounting board for guidance. Yes, on August 4th and August 9th, it was discussed at the commission meetings and it was tabled both times. And on the 13th, again, I did bring it up and it was tabled again. And I have been in contact with Karen Hennessy and Rashawn Howard over at the county discussing how the money gets transferred, the process, going to the board and needing commission approval. Contact for member Bennigan on October 8th, at your suggestion to speak with Sergeant at Arms, Amanda. Yes, I have an email string here of Amanda and I going back and forth discussing that. So if anybody would like to see that. And then, again, you were concerned about the invoices going back to July not being paid, and in fact, July, August, and September have been paid, but then we didn't have enough money, so I needed permission to move the money. So these now, the remaining can be paid. And then the first three, correct. So to date, we have paid $27,280. And then there was concern, it's not the responsibility of the full commission, but it is because they needed permission from the full commission to move the money. So I just want to clear up any questions about whose role in this. Does anybody have any questions?
We are only paying the invoices that we've already received.
Yes, sir. And then next month, there will be
We have to
additional
approve,
invoices.
yes.
Correct.
We've transferred more money than we're paying.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So what was the total of these invoices again?
So total for the investigation so far that has been billed is $66,541.36. Unpaid balance of that is $39,261.36. I do have the invoices for the now approved retainer for representing the board. Those total billed to date are $17,699.89. Now, this is all for FY22, but I do anticipate there's 3 weeks left in FY22 that we still need the billing, but their billing cycle doesn't coincide with our county fiscal year, so we'll have to.
I'm talking about your investigation if you want.
We should have a report. And a draft is,
I don't think the original state $30,000, now we're at least $70,000. That's a lot of money from veterans.
Any more questions? Sir?
Would you explain the summary of professional service timekeeper?
Is that on the invoice?
It's on the, well, I would call it the second last page at the bottom.
Okay.
It says summary of professional service and it says timekeeper.
so timekeeper is a lawyer or paralegal or anyone that can fill out, that fills in the file. Those are timekeepers. Timekeepers in the legal community are anyone that bill on the file, for which there's legal services, whether it's a paralegal or an attorney. I don't believe a paralegal would anyone bill.
Which bill are you looking at, John?
You just said it's separate.
And I'm reading that right, $200 an hour?
Correct.
Any further discussion? Let's have a roll call on Mrs. Dean.
Okay, this is for a motion to approve the invoices for payment. AL 1200 Moni,
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet,
Yes.
AL 935 Manhattan,
Yes.
AL 521 Steger,
Yes.
AL 19 Wilmington, 191, I'm sorry. AL 52 Romeoville,
Yes.
AL 18 Lockport,
Yes.
AL 13 Plainfield,
Yes.
AL Post 5 Harwood,
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox,
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook,
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont,
Yes.
VFW 5788 Lockport,
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington,
Yes.
VFW 1493 Frankfurt,
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet, Cantigny.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We're now on item E, 2023 delegate forms. I think we've already discussed this a little bit this evening. Dominic, did you want to clarify what the process is for that was? All is looking good. I believe they're going to go out first of the year, and they have to be back within 60 days.
No, by March 1st.
Oh, by March 1st. So 61 days.
So everyone who has a delegate form needs to turn in a new one?
Correct.
Is that the new law?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Within that time period.
And when you talk about publishing,
So,
there's personal identification like social security numbers or stuff on there.
yes, sir. So the process that the staff and with everybody's approval for verifying receipt, we are going to certify mail the delegate form, which is blank. It doesn't have any of your personal identifying information, and it will go to your post, attention to your commander. Commander will fill it out, assign the delegate the alternate, sign date, and they can either email it back to us, mail it back to us, fax it, but we have to have it by March 1st. So that way, certified mailing, we do have a record in the office of who did receive it. So
That's
did
a great
receive
idea.
it.
You used to get a lot of junk mail, and people just, they don't know what it is.
Right.
They sign for it.
Right. Our thought is if we give it to the delegates to hand in, there's no way for us to track to ensure that it did get to the commander or to the post. They can get lost. I lose papers in my car all the time. So for the office to certify mail it directly to the post, to the commander, attention commanders, and the commander's responsibility, and yours as well, if you want to be assigned again, to talk to them, to tell them to keep an eye out for it. Fill it out, but we have to have it for the MBAA by March 1st. So we can, absolutely. So when we get back the green slips, I would say by mid-February, if we don't have everything back, we'll start making phone calls, just as a friendly reminder. Questions?
Make a motion to approve that process.
There's just a discussion going on.
Much discussion. So can I ask one further question then? You know, we had this instance this year, obviously, where a lot of people wanted to be represented later on, and it's of course possible somebody moves, they need to be replaced. Are we gonna codify that in the bylaws, how
Yes.
we're gonna approach that? Okay,
Correct. So other VACs, their processes, they say that's why they have an alternate. So if the delegate does change, the alternate or vice versa. So it will be up to the bylaws to decide how you want to handle that as the commission. But as the MBA right now, it does say we have to have it by March 1st. So I would think if there's a change in the status, but we had the form by March 1st, that's one thing. But if the post didn't respond, let's say until July, and we didn't have anything, well, they didn't make the March 1st deadline initially. But again, that's going to be the bylaw. Okay.
I was just curious because I'm on that committee and
Yeah.
Any other discussion on the delegate forms? We're all clear that we all need a new delegate form. Doesn't matter how long you've been on the commission, still need it. Item F, 2023 commission meeting dates and locations.
Everybody has the calendar? So we have to publish by January, meeting dates, locations, and times. So Janet, I know we had talked earlier in the year, you had mentioned about possibly having our meetings in different locations in the county, different posts. So I thought this would give you guys the opportunity, if you want to volunteer your post, to host one of our meetings. That's why I put on top the month, location, and time. Our meetings typically are the second Tuesday of the month. And then you can see the full commission meetings are March, June, September, and December. October is every other year for elections and nominations. So I guess this would open for if anybody wants to volunteer.
January? January done.
Yes.
Okay, so these are all next year.
Yeah.
I think they should all be at 6 o'clock, so at least we have a good standard.
What?
Mike Myers volunteering his post for January.
Thank you. Can you clarify which post that is? Mike?
Post 18.
Thank you. If you do want to volunteer post, please let Jen know. I think it's a great idea to put them out to the community because many of the veterans, it's a great time for them to get to know the VAC and to understand how they can get benefits. I know we've had it at Moni once and we had a great turnout, and a lot of people didn't realize they left benefits on the table. And so it was really good. So I do encourage everyone to contact Jenna and Ray if they've got, if they'd like to nominate their post. Any other discussions on 2023 commission meeting? Eric?
This does have to be posted online by January 1.
All of the meetings have to
Yes,
post?
they have to be posted online by January 1.
because I have a question on that. If they all have to be posted by January the 1st, can they be changed?
10 days notice.
Right. So I think what
The
we
sooner we
can,
get those, the
Yeah.
sooner you guys get in touch with your VACs.
Yeah.
And find out what months, you can do it multiple months, find out what months you can do it, the better it is for us, for clarity, for openness, to adhere to the OMA and have that full schedule posted on January 1.
For people to plan ahead, Will County's big, so it might take an hour to get to the post, so.
yes, took me an hour today. Okay, any other questions on the 2023 Commission meeting dates and locations?
Is that really just the board meetings? So we only have a full meeting every 3 months? Is that correct?
The full Commission meetings are asterisk, but I believe everyone can attend all meetings. Is that correct? Yeah. You can attend all of the meetings. The asterisk ones are called full Commission. I'm not sure what the difference is actually.
Well, because it's part of the, it says executive, board meeting, so that's the whole.
Traditionally, every month was an executive board meeting with the quarterly full commission meetings. Those are the only ones where everybody was required to be at. So.
As we don't have a board, yeah.
An executive board, would we even need monthly meetings?
So it should be.
Which we
open
can
to
cancel
all.
at a later time.
So, for example, your next meetings are gonna all be full commission meetings. There's not gonna be, there's no executive board. So
Right,
even if
but
you-
with full commission meetings only happening quarterly, we don't need a full commission meeting every single month.
We're talking about the next 2 months.
Right. For,
It may not be required, but it may be your policy as well. Depends on your policy or bylaw committee. And what,
Well, if we don't have a board, so then it would need to be a full commission.
yeah, I think you have to, by the new legislation, you're gonna have to have a full committee meeting at least quarterly. But if your policies require more, you can do so. You just can't have less than quarterly.
The bylaws committee is obviously going to need to let folks know when the bylaws are ready for approval, and we'll have to have a meeting at that point, no matter where that is, when, right?
It's gonna be, well, it's gonna be one of the previously arranged and scheduled meetings.
And we'll have to publish it in the agenda.
Right. We'll follow the same protocol.
Just to be annoying, maybe now is when we should talk about when the meeting, what is it, next week? Or something?
The special meeting?
Yeah, when we're gonna do that, because we definitely need to make a quorum for that. And we basically need every person who's sitting in this room right now to make a quorum. To approve that governor's report.
Do we have to be physically in the meeting? Can we do it on the phone?
So I believe OMA does allow for remote, and I will pull up the exact statute, but as long as the commission approves for remote, but I believe there has to be at least one person. And again, I will verify and let everybody know, I think one person has to be in person, but as long as the commission approves to do a Zoom meeting, then that is allowed.
What do we have to do to approve it?
You would be approving that meeting as well. You have to acknowledge, yes.
Okay.
One question, does the Military Veterans Assistance Act, the bylaws require this report to be approved by the commission? I'm just curious.
Okay, well, but I believe your report is due the first part of your.
Yeah. So I don't, the MEA doesn't specify that exactly.
So it's not required, right, to be approved by the commission?
Not for the MEA,
Okay.
just that it's presented to the governor by January 1.
Yeah. Oh, I got you, okay. Well, in that case, there is no requirement for us to approve the.
Maybe our bylaws.
As it's on the agenda,
Dominic, can we make a motion to approve remote for next time?
No, it's not.
The commission meeting dates is on the agenda. January, so.
It is on the agenda, it says commission meetings, dates and location, oh, that's for next year.
Correct, yeah, we're talking about next week, right?
It says 2023.
Right.
Yeah, we're talking about one final one in 2022. I brought this up because we've always approved it, and I think the spirit of transparency, we present it in an open meeting, you know, people are allowed to ask questions, if any changes need to be made before it's submitted to the governor. If we don't have to and everybody's comfortable with that, that's fine, I'll be voting no on that, but, I think it's definitely best practice, if nothing else.
What?
We're trying to decide if we can set a meeting.
You can set a special, or notice a special meeting, but we still don't know precisely what. And that's, I think, the issue.
But we want to also somehow get permission for us to have it remote. If people want to call it. And the other thing is, if we really don't need to approve this, and what we want to, I mean, I want to see it before it goes to the governor because it represents our commission, but if we're not looking for approval, can we send it to everybody? Then if folks have questions, they can do a reply all and say, hey, we got a question on it? We can't reply all, no. Okay, so just reply to Jen, sorry.
Is there allowance for approval via email, or does it need to be a meeting? Okay.
We don't know if it needs approval yet.
If you're just talking best practices that we've done in the past, pursuant to commission's practices, that may pass address this post. That's right, best practices, then I would suggest.
That practice being sharing your report with everybody.
Sharing the report and not having a meeting on it, that's what the commission decides. If the commission decides they don't want to do that, still have to be submitted.
Okay, so as a best practice, we either come together for a special meeting, which has to be before January the 1st to review and approve this report, or we could send it out, and if anyone has questions, they can let Jen have the questions. Just Jen, and then if you are overwhelmed with questions, then we need to set a meeting. Right? Does that sound reasonable?
I'd be concerned about violating the Open Meetings Act if we're sending something around to all the commissioners.
I'm confused why we can't just have Zoom.
And so I think the Zoom, did you say Zoom meeting?
Yeah, I think the
Yeah, I
Zoom
think
meeting,
that's-
and then the physical location could just be the VAC office, right? So that would mean that we would have our staff, and then one delegate from the commission would have to be there physically present at 2400 Glenwood. And then everybody else could log
I
in
think
online.
the quorum has to be present physically. And then everybody else can, outside of the physical quorum, that everybody else can attend electronically. The disaster's expired.
Well, let's wait for council to come back. He's going to clarify that for us, whether we need quorum for an online meeting. And at the same time, we can find out, do we need to actually approve it, or do we want to just see it?
And furthermore, it could actually not be business, but instead be just question answer. you know, like where it's presented, we can all attend and find out what it's about, ask our questions, but if we don't need approval, then we might not need quorum. So I'm not sure how that works, so I'm gonna let them.
You're still having a,
Still
you're
meeting.
still gonna have a meeting.
Yeah. Yep.
If Jen has it available, people review it, as long as you don't talk amongst yourselves with a forum, you're not violating the open meeting. If it's available for review, and there's questions of whether it's at the office, that's not an open meeting, that violation. When I take the action as a board, you're not discussing the business as a whole.
So we'll wait for council to clarify in general.
If you want to have,
Communicate with
obviously,
us.
the process for.
Any other questions on item F, the commission meeting dates and locations?
Is it expected that next year, by December 12th, we will have this report that we do ready to be reviewed and voted on, so we don't run into this problem next year?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Need to make sure that's in the bylaws.
This was a crazy year.
Yes, it was.
Okay, moving on to item G, approve automatic iPass replenishment. Jen, can you give us some background on
Yeah, so the iPass is used for our driver. Rick drives almost every day to Hines and has to go on the tollway. So we need approval for iPass replenishment. Historically, we had the VAC credit card that we had it set up with. Now we're using the executive office's credit card to give the iPass. So we need commission approval for the executive office to allow us to use our credit card for iPass replenishment. We are requesting that the iPass replenishment be ongoing, so we don't have to ask this every meeting, because right now, our driver, we do not have funds on our iPass, so he's having to take the back roads to Hines, and it is doubling his time, which means he has less time to drive more people. So we're requesting that the iPass replenishment be ongoing.
Make that motion.
We have a price on here?
He's averaging about $15 a month.
That's sorry.
Yeah.
No, I carry iPass, I have that.
Yeah, it fluctuates.
The motion was made by Amanda, I believe, and seconded by Steve. Thank you. Yeah. Any further discussion on that? Roll call, please.
AL 1200 Boney.
Yes.
AL 1080 Joliet.
Yes.
AL 935 Manhattan. AL 521 Steger. AL 191 Wilmington.
Yes.
AL 52 Romeoville. AL 18 Lockport. AL 13 Plainfield. AL Post 5 Harwood. VFW 9545 New Lenox.
Yes.
VFW 5917 Bolingbrook.
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont. VFW 5788 Lockport. VFW 5422 Wilmington. VFW 1493 Frankfurt.
Yes.
VFW 367 Joliet Cantigny.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, we're nearly there. We're down to item 11 for the good of the commission. Item A, this is a recurring outreach. Actually, Eric, did you want to talk about these?
Yeah, be happy to. We are right now doing recurring outreach at the Orland Park Vet Center, Peatone American Legion, and the Manhattan Breakfast. The dates and times are as noted. If any post would like one of our service officers to come out to your post one day a month, we encourage that. We want to come out and serve your veterans. We want to get to know your veterans in each one of your posts. And we want to make sure that your post's veterans are getting the representation that they need. As an accredited service officer with the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, our VSOs have access to government databases that the typical post service officer does not have access to. We can see the claim file, we can access VA letters that have been sent to the veteran, we can see everything that has been submitted to the VA in support of your claim. So it's important that you get an accredited service officer to review your veterans' claims. You all are lucky enough to have us, so use us. Please use us, abuse us, get us out to your posts, get us meeting with your veterans. That's what we're here for. We are not here just to serve the veterans in the immediate area of the VAC here in Joliet. There are veterans in the outliers, in the outside townships that we are not serving right now, that don't even know who we are or what we do. There is absolutely no excuse for that. So if you would like one of the veteran service officers to start coming out to your post on a regular basis, contact the VSOs and we can arrange it in our schedules to make sure that we get out there in a time when not only it works for us, but it is convenient for you and your veterans. The American Legion, I am working the Peatone American Legion. I'm going out there every third Thursday from noon till 8 p.m. If that tells you how flexible we are, that's because that's where the Queen of Hearts is. That's when they're doing the Queen of Hearts. That's when I get a hold of most of the veterans. We do it on a recurring basis, the first Monday, second Tuesday, whatever it is. That's easy to remember. So please take this back to your posts. Get us out to your posts. We want to do this outreach. We want to help you guys. Outside of that, we have the Vet Center counselors that come into our office 4 days a week, and they do one-on-one counseling and group sessions here in Joliet. That would be the Orland Park Vet Center. Since there is no closer vet center, they come out to us and they do the counseling out here. So if any of your veterans need counseling, combat counseling, counseling for MST, these counselors specialize in trauma counseling. So if the vets don't qualify for the VA, they can still go to the vet center. The vet center is a totally different set of rules for who they can see. Their requirement is that it must be MST or combat related. Aside from that, every Housing Wednesday, as Joe already discussed, we did a couple of extra outreach events this last month with Veterans Day, fish fries, Thanksgivings. If you guys would like us to come out to your event, please reach out to us. Tell us when they are. We would love to get us a PDF, get us a photo, a document for your event, so we can post it on our Facebook page, so we can put it on our calendar, so we can put it out there and start advertising for you guys. So the lines of communication directly between you, your posts, your commanders, and our VSOs are myself and Anna are working with the website. Please reach out to us, let us know what's going on. We'll put it out there as far as we can, and we'll support your posts in any way that we can.
Thank you, Eric. Moni has been a recipient of the VSOs coming out. I can't tell you how many people they helped. It was amazing, and we even had a summer festival or something, and Eric came down, and I think another person from Melissa came and talked to veterans right there in the middle of the field. I mean, it was amazing. It was a great event. So I encourage you to make really good use of that service. Any other, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you say you're looking for places, Orland has a vet center, you need a place to have counseling sessions?
No, the Orland Park Vet Center is a VA program, and they have counseling sessions out in our office in Joliet. It's because there's nowhere in that area for a vet center, so they extended and.
Well, if you guys ever need room, I've got a couple extra buildings there that aren't being used during the day. And I was gonna say also to the, I'm sorry if I'm out of line, but the committee that's been working on bylaws, if you need a central place to meet, I've got 3 separate halls. So if you guys need somewhere in the center to meet, you're more than welcome. Just call me and, you know, the buildings are there.
Just remind us of your post.
Yes, post 18.
Is that
151st and Archer, right off 355.
Thank you. Any other comments on for the good of the commission, Robert?
I got a question. Now that we don't have an executive board, We used to have computers all that. And I asked, who's that going to secure?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Our computers and all our minutes that we used to keep, where are them now?
Well, we're still keeping them, I believe Jen
No, I'm
is.
talking about, didn't the VAC, didn't our secretary have a computer, VAC computer and all that stuff?
She had a recorder, right?
A recorder now, where is all that stuff?
I honestly can't tell you. We are working on finding that out. Does anybody else in here know the answer to that question?
Well, that's
Someone's
not the charge, she keeps it.
Well, I think, someone asked me that question and I didn't get an
So
answer.
we did, send a certified letter to Denise requesting all items VAC related to VAC business, to be returned, and she said she didn't have anything in response to the request.
That was her personal computer.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
What's the recorder?
The recorder, I believe, was purchased by Jack. We tried to get him to reimburse and refused. However, any recordings that are on it would be property of the VAC and have to be returned. So I don't know where that recorder is, or where those minutes, or the minutes for the closed meeting. I think the specific ones of those, the closed meeting are the only ones that we do not have possession of. They were in possession of the previous secretary. So that's what we specifically requested and haven't been able to return.
We are trying to retrieve it to answer your question, but don't know where it is at the moment. Any other questions for the good of the commission?
Really quickly, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for a very pleasant meeting. I thought this went really well. And then second of all, I just want to know if the folks that are on the bylaws committee could like just kind of circle up so we can, I didn't get everybody written down. I want to make sure that we kind of figure out where our first meeting will be or whatever.
So I guess your first meeting's tonight.
Along with that, could I ask that we get a link to the appropriate laws that we're trying, not just to the bylaws committee, but to everyone, so that they could look at them, and if they have suggestions, you know, because many of us don't regularly look for the Illinois statutes and all that.
So Sarah, that's what the black binders are actually. Anna spent time putting together. There's the MDAA is in there, the bylaws.
Oh, okay.
So that's a paper. I'd be happy. I can email out the actual internet link to it so you can have it digitally as well.
Yeah, and if there's any other laws that.
A lot of laws.
Yeah, that are.
Absolutely, so I can send an email with a comprehensive link of everything that when we're discussing, we're referring to. So you have a paper copy, the black binder is yours or your post. Again, so we would hope that you would bring it back to every meeting. So if you do need to refer back to some information, you have it at your fingertips. But I'll also email out a link so you have it digitally as well.
Thank you.
And if there is something if there's something you're looking for that's not on that list, the very best thing to do would be to email Jen, and Jen can let me know if that particular law does. Any other questions for the good of the commission? Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. You don't have to vote on
I think that was figured out.
So we don't need a roll call.
Recommend unanimous consent.
Okay, so we need a roll call for the motion.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against?
Yeah, you keep it. What's that? No, please. We're not gonna be, we can't do that for everybody differently. Please don't make us do it for everybody differently. Well, that's, leave that at the post. That's property of the post, basically.